I like the dog. It's friendly.
Well, hello, and welcome back to my channel, Box Office Poison. My name is Moxie McMurder, and I just recently watched the new Netflix series Ripley. Have you seen it? What did you think? Because frankly, I really didn't like it. I'm assuming that if you've clicked on this video that you've watched the new series, so hopefully anything I say isn't going to be a spoiler. And if you enjoyed the series, that's great, and I'm honestly very happy for you. It's just that for me, it didn't work. And I know I'm in the minority, but I know my people are out there somewhere. So, if this series wasn't for you, keep watching. This is my unhinged rant. Like a lot of people, I really enjoy the book, The Talented Mr Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, and even though it wasn't an especially faithful adaptation, I really like the 1999 film starring Matt Damon and Jude Law. First of all, let me say that this Netflix series is stunning. Literally every frame a painting. This noir take on Ripley is so appropriate, and the cinematography is just astounding. Those inky blacks, the shadows, the light, it is sumptuous. So I have absolutely no complaints there, and I have seen some people complaining about the black and white, and I don't understand that. I'm not one of those people. So much of Tom Ripley is ambiguous, and you can read into a lot of his behaviour to get to the root of his motivations. In this new series, Tom comes across as more asexual than anything else, and that's fine. It's something that we don't often see in media, but in this particular instance, I can't help but think, okay, but what do they gain by portraying him that way, and what do you lose? The book definitely has an undercurrent of homosexuality, and I like that aspect of him is portrayed in the 1999 film. It's explicitly queer, and it definitely adds another layer to his character, even tragically so at the end of that film, which isn't how the book ends, just FYI. Andrew Scott is a fantastic actor. His monologue from Hamlet is an absolute masterclass. Seriously, pause this video, go find it and watch it. It's incredible. That said, I personally think he's too old to play Tom Ripley. He's 47 in real life, and by casting him and Johnny Flynn, another actor, in his 40s, it changes the dynamics of the story and stretches the credibility just a little bit too much. It makes perfect sense to me that a father is concerned about his 25-year-old son who's spending his life swanning around Italy, painting and wasting his inheritance. Dickie's mother, in the book, is dying. It's not made quite so clear in the series, but there is a hint to it. And so it makes sense, both emotionally and narratively, that his father would ask Tom to go persuade Dickie to come home. It's just not the same when the guys are in their 40s. It just doesn't hit the same. There's also no delineation between Tom Ripley, the Tom Ripley he presents to the world, and then when he's pretending to be Dickie. Andrew Scott plays it pretty much all the same. Even looking through screenshots for this video, in every scene he has the same expression on his face. And while I understand they're trying to get across that Tom doesn't really have any sense of self and his sociopathy is literally written all over his face, it just didn't work for me. It was too bland, too masked. He doesn't let you in enough. There's no ambiguity in such a blank representation. In the book, Tom has an answer for everything. He's 10 steps ahead of everyone. But in the series, he's slow to respond and again could not be more unconvincing in his interactions. The man is so suspicious straight from the get-go. He doesn't even attempt to hide his suspiciousness. I I don't understand why Dickie is so open to Tom when they first meet and ends up inviting him to his house, because Tom is so blatantly suspicious from the get-go. There is nothing about Tom that Dickie should find interesting or appealing, and the same applies to how Dickie is presented. In the 1999 film starring Jude Law and Matt Damon, they turned Dickie's character up to 11. But in this version, they've flattened him out so much that there's nothing about Dickie that makes it understandable that Tom should not just be attracted to his money, but to Dickie himself. This version of Dickie is so bland, and the same could be said of Marge. But because she is a little bit spiky to Tom, it makes her character far more interesting than Dickie. This adaptation is actually very book accurate in so many ways, but there are just these little changes they've made that I personally just didn't like. I mean, there's the whole Chekhov's Caravaggio, the disguise, the whole Caravaggio thing is a bit stretched, to be honest. I don't mind the idea behind it, so much as the execution. I don't mind drawing parallels between Tom Ripley and Caravaggio, how they both killed someone, how there's rumours about both of them and their sexuality, and all that sort of stuff. And I suppose you could argue that it's leaning on something thematic, you know, Tom's shadow self, or that he's quite literally a shadowy character, and that's great on paper, but it just didn't work on the screen for me. Something I've seen people complain about is the lack of photographic evidence as to who's gone missing, and it would prove who was who was whom. That it's very unusual that none of the newspapers have a photo of the real Dickie or Tom. And this is kind of faithful to the book, although the end of the series does actually show a photograph and potentially leads us to a second series, presumably covering more of the books. Personally, I think there's a great adaptation that lies somewhere between the 1999 film and this series. I didn't hate the Netflix series, I just didn't love it, I barely liked it, and that's just disappointing. I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, I'm just screaming into the void and hoping someone screams back. I really enjoy the book, The Talented Mr Ripley, and I highly recommend that you add it to your reading list. So let me know in the comments if you've seen Ripley, what did you think of it? Have you read the book? Did you prefer the film version? Tell me all in the comments below. I'm really interested to know, because I do admit I am in the minority. Everyone I've spoken to loves this series. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to water your plants, be kind to your pets, and stay spooky.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Sensation, horror, shock. Send them out in the streets to tell their friends how wonderful it is to be scared to death.